Good evening, everybody, and welcome to James C. Stark Radio. We're coming to you from Press Coffee, downtown Phoenix on Central. And with me are the amazing, awesome musicians, the very talented bunch of MALO De Dentro. Say hello, dudes.
Hey, what's up?
Man, they're like wiped out. I just caught them after work, made them drive all the way down here. That's great. So, how's your day been, fellas?
Boring. Long and boring.
Yeah. Office work.
Very unmetal-like.
You didn't get to play yet today, that's why.
No.
Right.
Great. So, introduce yourselves, if you would, for us.
I'm Stone. I am the lead singer and rhythm guitarist.
And I'm Chris. I'm the bass player and all-around general hellraiser and shit talker.
Yeah, he is.
I'm Malo Six Killer. I'm the drummer and backup vocalist.
And these guys are a real amazing bunch. I got to meet them for the first time at Anfest, tripping into Malo's drum set. Yep, you guys know I'm half blind. I got up there, I was so excited, I stuck my hand out to shake his right before they got there. It was like one of those moments, slow motion, and I just crashed right over the damn thing, wound up in his lap. But he saved my ass, so it's pretty cool. So, again, I'm sorry about that, bro. I'm glad everybody was looking the other way, though, at the other band when that happened.
No worries.
That was freaking hilarious, but that's me. So, tell me, how did you guys get your start?
So the band's been around for quite a while. We've been around since 2006.
This is Malo speaking, by the way, you guys.
And it originally started when I moved to Arizona, and my neighbor heard me jamming out in the garage on the drums, came over, wanted to jam together, and we started jamming.
That's very cool.
So that guy is Rich from Two in the Chest.
Okay, so I knew there was a connection there.
Right.
Very cool. Rich is an awesome dude.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Riff master.
Yes.
Steady.
Oh, yes.
So we jammed for, a while, maybe 6 to 8 months or something like that. And we brought on a guitarist, his name's Chuck Samos, and he was the original guitarist of MALO De Dentro. We eventually split off from Rich and started MALO, and that was what we did. So we started out with kind of screaming vocals back then, so it was a different style back then. So we've changed quite a bit. About 3 years ago, Stone joined the band, and we changed to clean singing.
Yeah. Still's got a great voice.
Still just as heavy, though.
Oh yeah, the music's still just as heavy.
It's great stuff, man. You shared a couple stuff coming up with me from your new EP. We're going to play a few songs today. I listened to your last album, two different worlds almost. Yeah, I mean,
From that one to the new one?
yeah, they're both really cool, but it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like different, up a notch, different level. I don't know, it's like everybody's been practicing or something. I mean,
It's evolution, man.
Yeah, you kicked it on the last one. I really liked it, but this one's gonna be really cool. Euthanasia, is that the new one?
The new one's called Euthanasia.
That's really cool, man. The cover is cool. We'll get into that in just a second. I want to ask you guys really quick. Are you guys from Arizona originally, anybody? Or are we from everywhere?
Nope. Nobody's from Arizona. No.
Awesome.
No.
Neither am I. Yeah.
I've been here about 4 years. I grew up in Indiana.
Okay.
And moved out here, in 2015.
You want to say hello to anybody back in Indiana?
No.
That's why he's not in Indiana anymore.
Steve, our lead guitarist, is also from Indiana, so so he's been here about a year and a half.
Okay. Did you guys know each other back then?
I happen to be related to Steve, so.
Oh, okay.
He came out from Indiana, and he'd been here about 2 weeks, and auditioned for the band and knew all the songs, and it was just shoo-in right there. He was done deal. Yep, you're the guy. Let's do it.
Well, awesome. Well, if you're related, it's probably in the blood, man. A lot of talent in that family, I'm telling you.
You know what? And he tells a story too about when he was a kid. He was like 12 or 13. He was just starting to learn to play guitar, and his mom brought him to my house and said, "Get your guitar out." And then they said to me, "Get your guitar out." And I just played. I didn't do anything fancy, but I showed him up. and I didn't mean to.
Here you go, but you know.
And so he said that stuck with him for a long time. So now he can play circles around me on his worst day. So I got to give him that credit. He kicks my ass on guitar now. So
Well, you lit a fire.
I hope
you definitely
so.
lit a fire.
Yeah.
That was great, man. Chris, where are you from, bud?
Unfortunately, I'm from Los Angeles, California. But I've been here about, 22 years. So hopefully I can say I'm an Arizona native now. I like Arizona a lot more than California.
Oh, home is where home is home. You know,
right.
wherever you pick. That's right.
Home is where I hang my bass.
That's it. That's really cool. Do you want to say hello to anybody there? You said unfortunately, so maybe you're back into.
Well, I do have my best friend Eric McDonough. If you're listening, what's up, bro?
Awesome. Very cool. We'll make sure he gets a copy of it. Malo, tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm from Northern California, up in the Redwoods. So
Nice country up there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It rains way too much, but it's beautiful. Yeah, I moved here about 13 years ago, and yeah, I love it here. Different world, but totally dig it.
I love Arizona. A couple hours in any direction, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
exactly.
just
Yeah.
love it.
Anything you want.
You never get bored here, so everybody says, "It's too hot. We'll just take a ride north for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Have fun, man."
Exactly.
And then you'll freeze your butt because you realize how thin your blood has gotten. You'll be running back to warm up, and
Yeah.
just like all that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I wear a jacket when it's 70 here now, and that was unheard of, where I was from. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I know. It's
Keep calling you names.
Yeah.
Hit us with your purse. So, tell me some of your influences, guys. Let's start with you, Stone.
You know what? I was a big thrash guy back in the 80s, and then in the 90s, I think when grunge hit, so Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and stuff like that. For me, the two kind of that's the connection for me. Those two kind of melded together. So I'm a huge Slayer, Anthrax, Testament, old Megadeth, old Metallica, all that great stuff, and then kind of riding into grunge, and then strangely enough, as I get older, the heavier I like it. So now I'm listening to Gojira and I don't know, other really heavy stuff.
Heavier
So
and heavier.
yeah, and, I mean, in my background, there's all this, like, I listen to classical. I played in the orchestra when I was a kid,
Nice.
and listened to a lot of classic rock growing up. Iron Maiden was a huge thing for me growing up. Huge. Kiss was my first real music love, for whatever that's worth. And
No, that's good. That's a big circle.
it's a pretty big range, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I still find myself, the other day I was going back and listening to, I don't remember what it was, The Cars and Huey Lewis. Just
Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah.
So I
You're really
love
mixing it up.
the melody and harmony and stuff like that, but then the heavy and the fast and the heavy beat. That's
Just
what
does
drives me
something
now.
for you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's your engine.
Yep.
Christopher, where are you coming from on that bass?
All over the place, man.
I know he's like itching over here to tell me.
right.
Like, come on.
Well, first and foremost, I would say my favorite two bands are Iron Maiden and Steely Dan, as odd as that sounds. But
Oh no, that's
know.
awesome.
coming
Way
from
across the
LA,
spectrum.
I do like the old death row gangster rap, and I like some Parliament and their little bit classic rock. All over the place. Like I said, I like a really bass heavy, good melodies, things like that. But Steve Harris from Iron Maiden was pretty much the reason I started playing bass. You can't beat that.
You're not the only one. Yeah, you're not the only one.
So yeah, like I said, just a crazy eclectic mix of music. I really like '90s grunge, but metal mostly.
As he looks around the table to make sure the guys are, approving that.
Yeah.
After what Stone said, I'm surprised, you could say anything you want after that. He hit the
Yeah,
whole jukebox.
It's
man.
it's all good. It's everything, I think, comes into those influences. And
Exactly.
I grew up with. I was probably 15 when I discovered Iron Maiden, but yeah, my first show was Huey Lewis when I was 14. So yeah, it all comes into play. I think you listen to some of the stuff that we write, and some of the harmonies that I write, and you'll hear some of those influences, not like those specifically, but there's a lot of harmonies there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you definitely hear that in there.
So that's not a lot of what you hear in metal these days, but that's the way I hear it.
Yeah, that's cool though. That, you know, the more range you have in influence-wise, you know, the more avenues you have, the more doors it's going to open. Your imagination's going to soar that way. You know,
nothing's out of bounds.
Yeah.
No.
Except for maybe like Katy Perry shit.
Britney Spears.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well, now that I have to agree with. Yeah,
unless she's
that's
listening,
another story,
in which
though.
case
Yeah.
I'll give her my number.
Now I can't say what I was going to say.
No, we have to be happy. There's other things, yes, but anyways, let's hear one of these. Which one would you like to do first? They're both up here. We have. Well, I'm going to pick then. We're going to do stand up first.
Good choice.
And tell me about your writing process on this. How you came up with this little story behind the song.
You know, I think so. Ordinarily, the writing process. I know there's a lot of dudes out there that like to just kind of jam their way through. You know, hey, let's throw it. And we do sometimes. We'll jam some ideas, but really, it comes down to me going back to my guitar and sitting. A lot of times, I'll get my guitar out sitting at my computer, and I'm going to tune up, and then I'm going to practice. I'm just going to rehearse the songs that we already have, and then all of a sudden just new stuff starts coming out. And you know, we're just finishing up the EP, and I'm sending these guys new ideas. It's like, okay, I know this is the wrong time, but this just kind of came out. It just fell out of me tonight. So so I'll record those ideas, and then it'll be just rough, just riffs and nothing major. Send it out to the guys. Say, do you think, you know, is this something that's worth pursuing? Any suggestions on it? And then I'll go back to the drawing board with whatever they suggest.
The team player attitude.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so then I'll go back to and then I'll send it to MALO, and he will add some beats to it, and then we'll kind of take another listen, and so it's iterative like that. It kind of goes back and forth. Then really I do the lyrics last. I do the lyrics and vocals last. Everything else is pretty much in place until at that point I'll start writing lyrics, and I think my process has changed over the last few years. Often I start with a title, because the title to me kind of conveys whatever the main message is of the song. And so like stand up was something that was you know, I want to talk about rebellion. I want to talk about, you know, the bullshit that we're kind of dealing with in our society. I know that's been done, but it's
but
like
everybody has their own angle on it.
Everybody has their own angle on it. So
that's never overdone.
yeah, so that's really what it is. It's about don't just let everybody in the government, whoever, run roughshod over you. You know, stand up for what it is that you really believe in. And I don't care what that is at that point. It's just, don't just sit there on your ass waiting for others to do this. I say that, and I've never really done that, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it through music.
There you go.
I'm doing it through music.
That's
so
it.
the chorus is, you know, stand up, it's time for rebellion. And that kind of sets the tone for the whole song. I think the first lyric is, you know, don't just sit there waiting for others to intercede. So that's really how that song came about.
Cool. Let's check it out.
It's also worth noting that you know, we approached Christian Vasquez from Sectus.
Yes.
The guitarist and lead singer for Sectus, and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to join in, help us write the song." And so we had some main ideas down, and then brought Christian in and kind of went back and forth collaboratively, and had him lay down some guitars for it. And so when you hear the lead guitar stuff, you will hear him and our lead guitarist Steve trading licks back and forth. And towards the end of the solo part, you kind of hear them soloing in harmony, and it's just badass.
Cool.
Together, it's awesome. I think this is one of the coolest songs we've done.
Well, this is great. Let's check it out. When we get back, we're going to talk about the CD release, or EP release, and this is great. You know, the rest of it. Okay, guys, this is Stand Up from MALO De Dentro. Welcome back, you guys. That was Stand Up by MALO De Dentro. You guys, tell me about your new EP that's coming out. When is it? When's the release date?
Release date is July 20th, and we're having a show at Joe's Grotto in Phoenix to celebrate that. And we got a great lineup for that. We got huge blowout show. So obviously we'll play the EP in its entirety plus a few others. We've got Sectus, Empire Desire, Fatal Malady, and Crowning Thieves are also on the show. So that's going to be. We're super excited, and we're going to do some other fun stuff at that show too. We're going to entertain. Let's just say that it'll be fun. It won't be just
keep
a show.
it a secret.
Yeah.
I'll be down there joining you guys that night. That's going to be a lot of fun. So
Very
everybody
cool.
come down and say hello to everybody. Hang out with us.
I wanted to point out one thing real quick about the recording. So you just heard Stand Up, and I wanted to point out Steve's not here, but Steve, our guitarist, he engineered the entire album. So as we recorded in our we have basically 2 home studios that we've been putting together, and so between those we're doing all the recordings, and then Steve's doing all the engineering, all the mixing and mastering, and he did that on the last album as well. But I think while we were happy with that one, this one we're really, really excited about the quality of it and the performance, and just everything sounds great on this one. We're really happy.
That's cool. It does. It's got a great sound. Really strong.
Oh yeah.
Right forward. Boom.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff, man. When you guys have any tours planned or anything, or? I know our next upcoming shows.
You know what?
We have. We can all dream.
You know what? Families and full-time jobs makes it difficult to tour.
Sure.
So we'd like to kind of do maybe a short tour of the Southwest United States, probably maybe in the fall or maybe early spring. Just kind of California, Arizona area, something like that. But it's just tough to coordinate. So.
It is. Need a bunch of sponsors.
Exactly.
They pay it out there.
If anybody wants to sponsor a European tour,
There you go.
Well, Chris is sponsored, so this is a good time to.
Your sponsor.
yeah, I am sponsored by Brandon Guitars. They're actually based out of the Netherlands, and they build some really quality instruments. Oh my God, this thing's like the best guitar I've ever played. You know? It sounds great, neck through construction. I mean, it looks beautiful. Oh, I love it.
That's cool. That is so cool. Tell our young ones, our up and coming musicians and other ones too, what they do for you when they sponsor you. Tell them how generous they are.
Well, it's basically I have a sponsorship where they basically gave me a free guitar, and I play it obviously because I love it, but I also plug it every chance I get. I like take pictures and just basically show it off.
Yes.
That's what I do. Get
Now,
advertised.
how cool is that, guys? All you got to do is play with your toys.
Exactly.
I mean, that's
right.
it.
Yeah,
And
just
your
show them
sponsor
off to
happy.
everybody.
That's all you got to do. And
Put
tell everybody
pictures
what
up
you
on
got.
Facebook.
Yeah, so if Strandberg wants to sponsor me as a guitarist, I think I'd be all right with
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
It's perfect for somebody as vain as myself. So.
How many tracks are going to be on the new EP?
There's 5 on the new
5
EP.
Cool.
Yep.
Very cool. The cover is really cool, and you have a special artist who drew that.
So
Let's hear
this
about
is Stone. My wife Jennifer drew the cover art, and she actually drew the art for the back as well. So the idea was we've really, I think as a band, we've come a long ways from what we used to be, and the old logo always included a bird, and we kind of changed that 3 years ago to more of a flaming. We call it the flaming penguin, but
Cool. Hold on just a second.
yeah.
Because I don't want you to give it all away, because I know where the story's going to go.
Oh, okay.
Because I want everyone to see this. So this is it, okay? So let's, in a roundabout way,
Okay.
I'm going to make him really twist his brain here. He's going to try to explain this without giving it away.
okay.
And it's the coolest idea.
Without
It's
giving
the
it
coolest
away.
story. And when this comes out again, okay, there's going to be a little more added to this before the next show.
Okay.
Because we're going to do this twice. It's like a two-parter here, kids. But we'll drop it then.
So-
But Go ahead.
Okay,
try it.
so
Just-
there,
I mean,
yeah, you
Confirm
can cut this later if you want.
Oh no, definitely not.
No. All right. So the idea is the band has really kind of gone through this change over time, and the old branding was attached to the old band, and we really are more of a new band, and so we're rebranding, and the album cover I think plays into that.
It says it all. It's perfect.
Does that
yeah.
work through it without giving it all? Okay.
So it's a re something.
It's a rebranding. It's a rebirth. It's just new. You know what I mean?
Now here's the cool part, because we mentioned the bird
Yeah.
and the whole rebranding, but it's not what you think it is. It's really cool, you guys. It's not what you think it is. I know exactly where everybody's mind just went.
We
with
gave
that
the
one.
bird a giant cock.
Yeah, you should see
That's
it.
That's a rebranding.
Yeah. Okay, that was awesome.
It's a rooster.
Okay, that was good.
It's a rooster now. Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is. Yeah, with the
No,
spike
turned
collar.
it into a giant cock.
Yes,
That's what I
yeah.
meant. That's what I meant to say.
He's all down there. That was perfect. That was great. Oh my God, he was funny. Have you guys had any formal training, or are you guys ear trained musicians, or paper trained, teacher trained?
You know what? I started in orchestra as a kid, but other than that, as far as guitar goes, I'm pretty much ear trained.
What did you play in the orchestra when you were a kid?
Viola.
Oh, sweet. Sweet.
Yes, for 8 years I played viola.
Nice. What about you guys?
I played trumpet in orchestra in elementary school, and trumpet and marching band in junior high, and then I moved on to guitar. Couldn't find any spots in a band, so I just decided to pick up the bass. And but basically, I've taught myself, and I've been performing my whole life. So it's
Awesome. Yeah, you just kind of pick it up as you go.
Yeah.
Mr. Malo.
Yeah, I started out playing the baritone. It's like a tuba, but a little smaller. Between a tuba and a French horn, maybe. Played that in orchestra in grade school. And I took lessons and training in high school because I switched over to jazz. So I was playing drums in grade school as well, but doing that outside of orchestra because they didn't have drums. We were a small school. I come from a tiny, tiny little town, so we're lucky we had enough people to form a band, period. But, anyways, so I did take drum lessons throughout high school, played jazz for a number of years, so the training really helped with that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Do you guys do any side projects? Anybody have a little thing on doing any recording there, or acoustic gigs or anything? Or you guys just all solid right in here?
Yeah, I do. So I'm in another band
It's
locally.
Malo again.
I play drums for Apex Nemesis. So it's similar, I guess. A little heavier, maybe. I don't know.
Kind of
I
like
don't know if
the
any
old
heavier, but-
Malo with a little almost industrial feel thrown
Yeah,
into it.
yeah. It's
Little Fear Factory.
So it's got the harsh vocals, it's kind of groove based, I guess. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Industrial. What you said was good.
Cool.
Yeah. So I play in that, and then I do a lot of other side stuff with people, just record drums for people.
Drummers are in high demand
Yeah.
in Phoenix, so Brett has no
Yeah.
shortage of offers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
So
sure.
we're really glad that he sticks around with us. So.
I also playing in the Face Melter Jam. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's
I'll be
Brian
there.
Vogel.
I'll be hosting that one too this year, so we'll be seeing a lot of each other.
Okay,
this year.
good,
Right
good
on.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be playing with Terry Babbitts in that one, Art Long.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, we played last year. It was
Terry's
it was a
amazing.
blast.
Yeah. He's a great guitar player. That's cool,
Yep,
man.
indeed.
That is really cool. Tell us how you came up with your name and what it means.
I'm gonna let Brett explain that one again.
That story's not as interesting as it should be, but
That's okay.
Make it interesting. Just embellish.
Bullshit us.
Yeah.
Yeah, bullshit us a little. Come on.
basically I was sitting on a computer and I was chatting with Chuck, the old guitarist, and as we were starting the band, like, we got to come up with a name that kind of speaks to where we are, right? We live in the Southwest, so we want something that kind of reflects where we are. We went with a Spanish name because, this is an area where Mexico once was, so we thought it kind of spoke to where we are. MALO de dentro loosely translates to evil within. And the way we found that out is we were throwing out names, looking it up on Google Translate. Chuck would go, well, hold on, I'll go downstairs. I go ask the guy, this Mexican down there, he speaks Spanish. He can tell me if this translates, well. And he goes, what about MALO de dentro? And he goes, bat inside. Bat inside? What the hell is bat inside? No, bad inside. So,
Funny.
Yeah, so it basically means evil within.
It doesn't mean bad dental work
not
or
bad teeth.
or
That's cool. That's totally cool. When you guys are in the studio and you're putting in those hours and everything, how do you guys relax when you're done? I mean, you hang out with family, you chug some beers, you just chill, or is your mind still going and you can't shut it down for the next 10 days because you were in the studio?
You know what? I don't want to speak for these guys, but I think I'm a perfectionist. So when I'm playing, I think I've always been a better singer than I am a guitar player. So singing, I think I get through those parts pretty quickly, and I can kind of hear how everything fits together, and I can. And for me, for singing, it either in that session it either works or it doesn't work.
Sure.
So
sure.
if I start singing and it's and I'm just not able to get where I need to get, either with tone or with range or things like that, then I'll just quit and I'll just come back to it later, because if I can't get it within the first half an hour, I'm not going to get it. But if I'm playing guitar, then I've got to do it over and over and over and over and over again until I get it exactly the way I want it. Because generally I lay down my parts before Steve does, because I'm laying down the rhythm, and then he's maybe going to lay down another rhythm over the top of it, but then he's going to do whatever else that comes after that. And so I think after singing, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of different because we're not going into a paid studio, so we have a little more flexibility with our time. So I'm not paying for a 4-hour block, and I got to go in and nail these vocals, which is nice because, again, I can try it at 6 o'clock, and if I don't like it, if I'm not feeling it, I go back at 10 o'clock, or I go back at 2 the next afternoon and try it again. So, afterwards I don't know, I'll just go watch some TV, drink a beer, and I don't know. It
doesn't sound like there's much afterwards.
You're
in and out of there recording all the time.
I love the recording process. And I know a lot of musicians don't.
It's like an addiction.
There's a lot of tedium to it when you're doing it, especially when you're a perfectionist. You want to make sure it's absolutely perfect. And I know too, a lot of it can be edited later, but I don't want that. I want it to be
with that pure sound.
I want it to be pure. Yeah, honest. Yeah. Honest is a good word. Yeah. And so anything that we do in a recording, we're going to do live on stage. So if I've got 3 vocal harmonies going, I got to make sure Brett and Steve can sing, or MALO and Steve can sing those. And if we've got screaming going on, then we've got to make sure that we can fall into that. The guitar parts, I got to make sure I can sing and play at the same time.
Okay, so we're sitting here, you guys. This is hilarious. You had to see this because, man, there was such a scene outside. It was horrible, and I can't go into it. Let's put this in.
Devastating.
The scene inside was pretty devastating to the one outside. So we're sitting right by the window in downtown. I'm just gonna leave it. Forget it. We just saw something hilarious. Anyway, but what I saw after was even more funny. Their reaction was great. But I'm going to shut up now because I'm going to get myself in trouble. Anyway, so this one's rambling over here, doesn't know how to relax at all. But man, he can talk. That's got some great stuff there. You always know the vocalist. And go on and on and squirrel all over because they're always half the words that are coming out. This is the funniest thing about singers, because I'm the same way. We just start listening to our own voice. It's like, man, I talk so sweet today. Wow, that sounds good. I need to write some lyrics about this and just keep talking. Yeah.
I'm an unabashed attention whore, and it just is what it is. You either embrace it and try and do something with it, like being a band, or you're an asshole. And maybe I'm a little bit of both.
Hey, it's a good balance, though. You got to put a little bit into the music, and then you appeal to everybody that way.
There you go.
So, what about you? What's
Well,
your guess?
the studio is actually more of my therapy. You know, I kind of have a hectic life between work and being a single dad and things like that. So, you know,
You're relaxing through recording.
I get it.
I'm the same way like that. I totally follow you.
I used to do it professionally, and whenever I was in the studio before, you know, throw chairs around, but now it's like, you know, it's how I chill out and relax. So
That's cool.
yeah, so I love it.
And drummers never relax, Malo. So how do you pull it off?
So yeah, I used to hate recording. I could not stand going to the studio. I was very tense. I hated being on the clock. It just made for a horrible experience, and it usually showed in the recordings, and just would take a super long time to get done because I could never relax. Now it's not that way, and I think a lot of it's attributed to not having to actually go into a studio somewhere. I can do it at my own studio now. We bought a new house last year, and as part of that, there's a off on the property. There's a detached studio.
Oh, that's
and, which it's great. I can play as loud as I want. It's sound treated, fairly well, and I can record my own stuff. So I went out and bought stuff to record the drums so that I don't have to bother going into a studio environment besides my own, and just knock it out at my leisure, and that's worked excellent. It's a great process for me. It's great because if I don't knock it out, like Stone was saying, come back later, it feels right, and get it done. And I think it's shown in the recording process. I can knock it out a lot faster. Comes out a lot more.
And we can do more versions of it too. You can go through and go, okay, I don't really like that. Let's try something else. And you're not worried about being
having to settle.
You're not worried about what the cost is monetarily.
Oh yeah.
It makes for a much more relaxed environment, I think. So yeah.
Exactly.
So as we talk about kind of winding down after recording, it's like I don't really feel like that.
Yeah, the recording's part of your relaxing.
Yeah,
so
yeah, sure.
That's cool. Let's check out another one. This is the culling, and how did you write this one? Tell us what it's about.
So this is another one that came to me as the title, and I actually, after I wrote the song, I discovered another song called it had the word culling in it. I thought I was being original, but apparently I wasn't. But it's about. I started with this kind of almost doom riff, like this really slow, chugging guitar riff. That I'm kind of a stoner metal fan as well, and so I was kind of going towards that doom stoner thing.
Cool.
And then just started to think about the name and the topic, and it's supposed to be eerie and maybe scary is too much of a word, but I did have someone describe it as scary recently, and it's it's basically about, okay, as our society moves forward, at some point you're going to have somebody say we need to weed out the weaker people and the weaker of our society, and so the song, I think, kind of describes that process, and you'll hear there's a lot of vocally, there's a lot of Alice in Chains sort of influences in there, a lot of harmonies, and there's a lot of, just for me, like if there's one song on stage that I get a moment, so to speak, where I just like really feel it in this really
that rush,
gut feel. This is the song. This is the one that does it for me.
Cool. Let's check it out. This is the culling.
In the darkened world, with our flag unfurled towards the netherworld, we die. From the time of birth, on this blackened earth, see our lack of worth, we die. grace and pity left behind. Only the best endure, the frail and weak endure. The birds will leave the world alive. Humanity grows short, killing men for sport. The devil's last resort, final goodbye. No mercy to mankind. Grace and pity left behind. Only the best endure, the frail and weak endure. The birds will leave the world Welcome to the slaughter, no mercy, the calling. Welcome to the slaughter, no mercy.
All right, you guys, we are with MALO De Dentro in downtown Phoenix, checking out the Freaks on Central, man. How cool is this? That was The Culling. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm having a great time with these guys. What kind of a message, if there's any, are you trying to convey to your friends or your fans? Are you just getting it out there and throwing out what's inside of you, or is there something you're trying to say? I know every song has a story, but is there anything special that MALO De Dentro wants to get across to their fans?
You know what, I
see all these light bulbs going off, and no one knows where to start.
I think not really. No, just you know what, when I write just whatever comes out. So,
Excellent.
and then I decide later. We decide as a group later, does this fit with what we want to put out? But as far as a lyrical message or a stated message, I don't really think there is one. Just we like it loud and fast and heavy but melodic and harmonic and other than that, you know what? It's like just get out there and rock. Just go do. You know what? We've really. You know what? I take it back. If there is a message that I think that we've been trying to portray for the last at least 3 years that I've been with, is get out and support the local musicians. Get out, and that's something that we do often.
That's great.
We get out, we go to other people's shows. I was at the Yucca Tap Room last weekend catching a show. You know, MALO gets out and catches a lot of shows. Chris comes out and drags his girlfriend along with him, and she seems happy to do it. So
she loves it, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Get out there and support. Go to the shows. We want people at our shows, but we know that there's we need to be returning the favor.
Yeah.
You know, and so the big challenge I think for the scene, we've got a great metal scene right now. And,
Oh, yeah. Very
I'm
strong
totally
right
into it, and this is great. I played covers for years and years, and this has been such a, I don't know, I call it an eye-opener, but this has been such a different experience for me, and I love it. So much more fulfilling, but it's that much more fulfilling when people show up. And in order to get them to show up, you got to provide a product that is appealing. You got to look like you've been there. You got to act like you've been there, and you got to go out and support the other bands. And I have a family, I have a full-time job, I have lots of shit going on in my personal life, but I still try to make time to get out there and go to a few of these shows. And so tomorrow night, Apex Nemesis is playing. I played bass in Apex Nemesis for a little while, for a few months, but they have got a new guy now, and I'm going to go out tomorrow night. I'm going to support them. And Adam, the Spleen, is the guy who's...
You guys know that we'll be closing in 5 minutes.
Thank you. And Adam has given us quite a lot of shows, and so that's something I want to go out and support, not only Adam and Apex Nemesis, but Defiant Machine and all the other bands that are on that bill.
That's great, man. That is great. What do you have any advice for any of the new upcoming bands? Any do's or don'ts, or any artist at all?
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Don't be an asshole. That's that's on the top of my list, right? Seriously, that's the main list in my head all the time.
Commandments.
Got to be nice
don't
to
be a
everybody.
cunt. Yeah.
I think you already touched on it with the going out and supporting, and networking is the key. I mean, you've got to get out there and meet people. You can't rely on social media to be your one way of trying to connect with people. It just
You got to get out live. You got to get out there.
I mean, that's one way of doing it. But yeah, you've definitely got to get out there and get face to face with people.
We've spent 3 years doing nothing but that, just making sure that we're making friends and saying, and you not only make those connections, but you learn a lot from them as well. We talked about Christian a couple of times. He made a post on Facebook yesterday that was exactly that. It was like, be humble, get out there and do what you do, go out and support others, be nice about it. Don't like get in people's faces about, just go do what you do, and the good things will come to you. And we're definitely and hustle. I mean, we promote a lot, and there are a lot of bands that don't, and we promote more than most, I think.
I'll tell you what,
it's a lot of work, but it pays off.
That's the payoff, you guys. A very important message there from Stone. I know you put a lot of time into your writing, into your practicing, into doing all that, plus you have your job and everything else, but you've got to make time to promote. I tell you, a lot of you guys in this valley would be on the charts right now if you were promoting. Some of you guys are just amazing. Everyone in my book has got my respect for out there and trying, just to do your thing, but you got to promote it, guys. Share your stuff, get it out there. Come on this show too. I'll help you. Do whatever I can for you guys too.
And we really appreciate that. The people like you and Gavin Donnelly at Soundphoria and Terry and Matt and Rebecca at
all of them.
Metalano. Audible Assault, Kim over at Club
13th.
Red, 13th floor. I mean, shit, I could go on. I go on Adam. I already mentioned Adam. I would go on and on. These are the folks that, I mean, coming in with an attitude doesn't help you. Coming in humbly and saying, I got a product, I want to put it out there. Can you help me? And that's really how it works.
You got to be sincere, People expect you to be real.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's the main thing. Okay, guys, I know that the sound may have just changed dramatically because we're outside now, and wasn't that magic? We just stopped for a second, and boom, we're in a whole different place. So, anyways, that's because we got kicked out. No, not really. These guys are really mellow,
keeps
actually.
Starting fights and shit.
Right? Everybody who knows me knows that's true, right? Yeah, I'm a big shit starter. Anyways, no, they just closed. They were closing up. That's all we do, and they keep them there all night. So, anyways, we're standing out here on Central with the rest of the freaks now, trying to duck them. And actually, I think we fit right in. So, guys, I have one more question for you tonight. What's one of your biggest struggles through all of this? I mean, I know it's all hard work, but is there any one thing that...
It was the other 20 things we talked about.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
You know what? It's about balance.
Hello, hang on. We have...
It's about getting hunted down by the cops and helicopters. You know what?
I swear it wasn't us.
We're all... None of us have delusions of being rock stars, and you know, so you got to balance your time, and you got, again, you know, we mentioned family, full-time job. My job's 50 hours a week sometimes, and then
rough.
finding not only the time, but finding the energy at the end of it to say, all right, we got to go practice this weekend. But there have been times, I know, when I talked to Malo afterwards, and I said, look, I needed that. I really needed that. That was just, even though I expended more physical energy, the emotional energy that came pouring out and was relieved is a much bigger deal for me. It was, you know, we go into it going, I need to play loud music right now, because I got to just get this shit out. Plus, we just have fun with it. We genuinely have fun when we're, you know, when we're either. We genuinely have fun when we practice, and you know, we love doing new things and trying new stuff, and I am super excited about presenting new music to the scene and to anybody who will listen, and you know, so much so that I've kind of leaked it out here and there to friends, and it's just kind of, you know, you're all tight because you're like, oh, we gotta get this shit out. People need to hear this. So that's the payoff, and whatever it takes to get there is whatever it takes to get there. So, and I often tell people that playing metal in a band keeps me from killing people. So now that's on record. But as long as I'm in a band where everybody's safe, I think.
There you go. Yeah, keep that in mind, everyone. Don't ever let these guys bust up on. Don't let Stone loose at all. You guys, I want to thank you so much. Great time with you guys today. It's fun being downtown with you guys, too. You guys, don't forget MALO De Dentro's EP release, the big party, the big show at Joe's Grotto, July 20th. Right? Did I got that right?
Yep.
Guys,
Yeah,
gentlemen?
no
Very cool.
tickets. It's just going to be, I think it's $10 at the door. 21 and over, 5 bands. Like I said, it's going to be more than just music. That night we're going to do some fun stuff.
It's going to be a great night.
Yeah,
it's
going to
be
awesome.
Great night. It's an exciting night.
Super excited.
Everybody needs to be there and have a great time. So, you guys ready?
Absolutely.
Take us out of here.
Hey, I'm Stone.
Malo, Chris,
And you're listening to
James C. Stark Radio.
And these guys are MALO De Dentros. Make sure you come down there. Oh, and hey, Steve, we missed you today, buddy. So,
yeah, you lame ass.
there you go. These guys are awesome. You guys have a great day. Peace. I'm out.